Today on Built to Last, safe seats with a view.
You can't move forward unless you give back something to the community.
Revitalizing more than buildings.
Told me if I ever need a job, to give him a call.
Theirs is a story that fuels the soul.
All aboard, it's time for Built to Last.
Built to Last is brought to you by the Chicago Regional Council of Carpenters Labor and Management Committee and Armstrong Ceilings. Faster, easier, better.
Welcome to Built to Last. I'm Mark Nilsson.
And I'm Monica Peterson. We're social distancing here at the Chicago Regional Council of Carpenters Apprenticeship and Training Center, where the hands that build America are learning their trade from the ground up.
Part of learning about being a union tradesman or woman should go deeper than simply learning a craft. It should also include an understanding of the deep, rich history of how labor unions started. Well, in an historic neighborhood on Chicago's South Side, there's a unique place for the apprentices of today to do just that.
We are the nation's first officially labeled African American Labor History Museum. We are located in Chicago, Illinois, in the Pullman National Monument.
We're here to preserve and interpret the story of the Brotherhood of Sleeping Car Porters, America's first black labor union to receive a charter under the American Federation of Labor.
We get asked a lot to get involved in different things. And Dr. Hughes asked me if I would come out and see what they're doing out there at the Porter Museum, and I said absolutely.
I wanted the African American population in the Pullman community to know that they have a cultural heritage connection that could say to children of African descent that you can start from nothing and one day be something.
And if you really dive into it, without those gentlemen fighting for our needs, we wouldn't have 134 today, we wouldn't have the building trades, we wouldn't have the CFL.
It was through our partnership and connectivity between the Electrical Workers Minority Caucus and the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, Local 134, that connected us to the museum.
When we got the call, I didn't know about the museum. We lacked knowledge of our own heritage.
Back in the day, people gave their lives for the right for a fair wage, to be safe at work. It's great for our kids to be able to go out there and tour through it so they understand how Chicago came to be Chicago.
One of the reasons that I wanted the apprentices to be here was to see what it was like for a union to begin.
The railroad magnate George Pullman, in his design for the luxury railroad train car, he had a vision for what he wanted the service to be like, and that pool of employees was not available. So he went south to recruit newly freed African American slaves.
Pullman Porters made him a tremendous amount of money and increased the stock of his company by the quality of service that they provided.
They got 4 hours sleep. They had to sleep sitting up in the smoking car. They often worked in the capacity of a conductor, but they didn't get conductor's pay.
So, where is our equity?
They organized Brotherhood of Sleeping Car Porters, August 25th, 1925.
These gentlemen left us a proof of concept of what organizing looks like, primarily because they had the leadership of A. Philip Randolph.
When you think about what A. Philip Randolph did in the time he did it, the membership made him, but they made him because he was the guy that was gonna bring them through the worst times they've ever seen, and did it.
Pullman Porters have been trying to establish a union for decades. They knew that if they were out front, they would be fired. Well, A. Philip Randolph didn't work for the Pullman Company, nor was he a Pullman Porter. They began to cultivate a culture. It was very organized, almost like military-like.
And the way that they were able to do it is through brotherhood, through union organizing, through labor. They did it with dignity and respect.
It took them 12 years for the Pullman Company to acquiesce, as we say. They took a job that was menial and perfected it.
The pay wasn't that well, but it was the tips that made them very wealthy. They would, become property owners, business owners.
But their wives were the ones who had china and lace tablecloths and wore furs. They drilled into their children the importance of education.
They put their kids through college. paid off their homes, and created lives that they could be very proud of.
They were the standard of middle class in the black community. But people don't know that, and we're trying to amass the interest of as many young people as we can.
Because it's not just the Pullman area that needs to know about this here. It's everybody.
Theirs is a story that fuels the soul.
I hope that our apprentices today took away that what we have today came from somebody else.
The Pullman brothers actually laid the foundation for the union that I'm in today.
I'm proud to be a part of that.
Just delighted and thrilled that they have adopted us, if you will, and saw the value in what we do.
This place is the epicenter for cultural economic development, for urban tourism and hospitality. We spawned a for-profit CDC, a Community Development Corporation.
The idea is to rename the street Randolph's Way and create combination housing and tourist destination.
We do this for the impact that it will have for generations to come. We do this so that we can always honor this story properly.
And once they come and they're exposed to this story, they leave changed people.
She wanted to light up this big mural. Obviously, that's what we do.
Park Chicago offered to pay for all of the material and the lighting, connecting IBW Local 134 members and the contractors to donate their time and our skill to make sure that one of the most important figures in labor history is highlighted in the Pullman area.
And that mural is so important because you see A. Philip Randolph standing there with his suit on and his overcoat on, his nice hat. And you see a lot of the Brotherhood of Sleeping Car members in the background. But in the front, you see a lot of the firemen. You see a lot of the coal workers in the front. And what that says to me is, and to everybody that walks past, hard work should be celebrated.
After we installed the lights, we installed them during the day, you can actually see the output of the light on the mural. And so I went back that night so I could see it, took pictures, and it actually lit up like the sky. It was beautiful.
I'm looking for the kids that come out of high school, so if I can help out in the community and they remember that I helped, maybe I'll drive somebody towards my industry and want to be a carpenter.
At Armstrong Ceiling and Wall Solutions, we take great pride in making a positive difference in the lives of people. With the broadest portfolio in the industry and the technical performance to back it up, you can design and install with confidence. Our ceiling construction expertise, training, and pre-engineered ceiling solutions make it easy for you to seamlessly transition from one end of the building to the other. Improve construction efficiencies and keep every job on time, on budget, and on the mark with Armstrong Ceiling and Wall Solutions. Faster, easier, better.
Want a great career? Join the Carpenters Union and be part of the next generation building our communities. With the Carpenters Union Career Connections program, high school students get a head start on the industry's leading curriculum. Learn the latest in construction technology and the many skilled crafts the Carpenters Union represents. Plus, earn as you learn. Receive a nice paycheck, health insurance benefits, and best of all, no college debt. Ask your school district to participate in the Career Connections program and get started on your future.
From bridges and trains to iconic high-rises, have you ever wondered who's powering Chicago? Unlike our sports heroes, they go unnoticed. Yet they proudly keep our businesses, homes, and great city running. IBEW Local 134 electricians and the electrical contractors have the experience, training, and reliability to keep Chicago open for business.
Giving back to the community is an important part of every union carpenter's life. Helping a group of kids in need makes those efforts even more meaningful. So when a local youth sports team needed some help, the Carpenters Union and contractors stepped up to become the champions.
We represent a youth football organization here in Frankfort for youth football players and cheerleaders, 8th grade and younger. We had a deck, it gets used quite heavily with all the coaches and all the players and everybody coming up there to watch what's going on in the action. It had become dangerous, it was rotting and falling apart. The Frankfort Falcons reached out to Tony Janowski and the Carpenters Union.
So we had gone out and taken a look at it. Stringers were cracked, the railings were ready to fall off. You know, with a couple good chairs, this thing probably would have collapsed.
We needed to get it replaced for a game that's coming up at the end of the week. He came up with this idea that we could work with the other carpenters and put together a good team and build this deck for us.
Get the big 12 and a 1x2.
We had this small deck, and with all the teams bringing cameras and crews to film how their teams are performing, we didn't have adequate view of the field on either side. We decided to extend the deck, so by adding the front 4 foot, we now can position cameras on both sides. We have a better view of the whole complete field. So not only are we improving the deck, we're enhancing it for the future.
I'm an architect. I've been with the Frankfurt board for 17 years. I designed the concession stand and the deck that just was built.
I thought it was awesome. Just looking over, seeing the deck turned out great, and then found out that my local 174 had carpenters out here, and that's what you're going to get with union carpenters. You're going to get quality, and you're going to get the skilled training, and I'm proud of that.
RCEC and the Chicago Regional Council of Carpenters have partnered together for over 50 years.
It was easy for all of the carpenters that are involved with the RCEC to come together because we've known each other as second-generation owners of our companies. Most of our employees have been working for all of us for many years.
This being a big weekend for the Falcons, it sure was nice for our teams to be able to come together and build this beautiful deck for them.
This is an awesome initiative. I mean, the Frankfurt Falcons have been around for quite some time. And for us to show support, to offer up DeWalt tools with our latest technology and safety features, enabled these guys to get this job done on a timely basis and very safely.
In the carpentry trade, you learn this trade, and you not only do it at work, you help your grandma and grandpa to fix their kitchen, you help your neighbor to repair their deck, and when you have an opportunity to do something for the whole community, that's why union labor jumps in with both feet.
We donated the time. So I had a carpenter go out there, like I said, with a couple other companies, and we donated our time to help building the deck. You can't move forward unless you give back something to the community. I've gotten a lot of help in my years of growing up, and from coaching to volunteers, so this is a way for me to help out and give back.
Anytime I get a chance to talk to high school kids, I always encourage them to consider being part of the trades.
It's harder and harder to recruit young people into the trades, so this kind of exposure, it helps.
That deck that they saw go up with union tradesmen, I hope that some of those young people will join our trade.
I'm looking for the kids that come out of high school, so if I can help out in the community and they remember that I helped, maybe I'll drive somebody towards my industry and wanting to be a carpenter.
I played sports a long time, and the first thing that I learned is teamwork. You have to be able to work with different people. You have to understand your teammates, what they can and can't do. And in construction, we deal with a lot of elements. We work in the rain, we work in the snow. You got to trust your partners. And so for me, I feel like football and sports was a good transition to being a union carpenter because it's all about being a team and being able to work with one another. So we've donated a lot of time over the years to communities, so it's good to give back when we can.
What is also unique about this build is we had contractors that came together that typically don't work side by side. They executed a plan, they delivered a product that is superb.
It could have been that maybe somebody got hurt on that old deck. So I'm glad that they contacted Tony. I'm glad that Tony contacted us.
Frankfurt Falcons would like to thank Dinkin Roach, Monarch, and RB Construction for helping us out with this deck project. We appreciate that, all these people are coming together, working like teams. We'd be nothing without volunteers like the Carpenters Union to help us out.
Studies show that union members are more likely than non-union members to volunteer in a variety of areas, such as medical care, coaching or refereeing sports, tutoring or teaching, and mentoring youth.
You can see we're tearing out the floors over here, so we'll bring the tile in flush with the historic maple floors.
Keeping restaurants and hotels up to date with the latest design trends is a constant challenge. Finding qualified contractors isn't at finishingchicago.com. We work with top designers and general contractors who use the latest painting, drywall finishing, and wall covering techniques in Chicagoland's premier hotels and restaurants. The hospitality industry relies on finishingchicago.com as its free resource to find quality finishing contractors. For a great finish, start with finishingchicago.com.
24/7, IBEW Local 9 linemen are there protecting you and your family. From the moment you wake up with a power in your home, on your way to work, lighting the way and easing congestion, plus keeping you safe with traffic lights and cameras. So the next time you're at a stoplight, pass under a power line, or just pull into your brightly lit neighborhood, think of your friends at IBEW Local 9. We'll continue to light the way for you. Meet us online at IBEW9.org.
Got a commercial, industrial, or healthcare construction project? Use a professional Flooring Installers Association install certified contractor.
Flooring must be skillfully installed so it looks great and lasts.
PFIA skilled union installers receive industry-leading training, including ICRA, to deliver quality and safety with any flooring product.
PFIA contractors are the single source for all of your flooring needs.
Flooring done right. The Professional Flooring Installers Association.
When tough economic times fall, the effects on a small town can be devastating. But in Pekin, Illinois, there's a union contractor who refuses to stand idly by. Not only is he saving historic buildings, but at the same time, he is helping small businesses succeed, all in a coordinated effort to return this once bustling town to its heyday.
We're in downtown Pekin in a building that we're stabilizing and revitalizing to prepare for the Pizza Peel restaurant. So the Pizza Peel is in Lakin, Illinois. It's owned by Travis Guthman. This will be his second location.
So Pizza Peel started almost 11 years ago. I've been in pizza for almost 25 years actually, so I spent almost 14 years in Colorado. When we moved from Colorado, it was a town of 100,000, so I'm used to a big volume, and we moved back to a farming town basically of 1,900. So we moved from a town of 1,900 to a town of 34,000, so we're hoping the volume will be higher. We built a little bit bigger space in a 110-year-old building, so we're kind of at the early stages of construction at the moment.
Historically, this was a Woolworth store. 1910 it was built, so a little over 100 years old. When I bought it, it had been on the market for about 1,700 days. As a carpenter, I built Victoria's Secrets, which were a high-end millwork package, so we were one of their primary providers in the Midwest. Around 2002 or 2003, I got a phone call that was no more stores. And so I decided that I would come back home and decide what to do next.
When Todd came, we probably didn't have more than 28% occupancy downtown. We were at risk of losing buildings that had been here for a long time, that had been ignored, and Todd started knocking on doors, offering his expertise.
We agreed to buy the buildings and insure the buildings and become responsible owners if the city would put the same dollars into the buildings that they were going to use for demolition. With that agreement, we were able to attract some really great tenants.
Todd offered on his own dime a lot of help with people who had a dream and wanted to start a business, but didn't necessarily know where to go from there.
8 years ago, I met Todd. After we opened Lakin a couple of years, and I came to Pekin and loved what Todd did with the downtown. He had taken 4 or 5 blocks here and have started rehabbing the buildings and putting in businesses.
There's a difference between financially successful and commercially bankable, right? A bank likes to manage their risk to the nth degree, and so we have to often help our tenants understand what a commercial banker's looking for, and so that's what we did with Travis. Really helped him tell his story so that it was attractive to the commercial lenders.
Having a developer come in who looks at it as a paycheck is a totally different ballgame than having somebody like Todd who has a passion for it, a love for his community.
Todd's efforts aren't just about building up a single space. They're about revitalizing the entire city.
The fact that we're an energy user, so the water company is providing utilities, and then people have jobs in these buildings. Quite a bit more construction jobs to stabilize and revitalize a building than there is to tear it down.
Part of the equation, the skilled union labor, no codes. They know what to expect when an inspector comes in. It doesn't work without them.
Being a union contractor, my guys come with a great basis of training. We generally partner with that training and do our own in-house training for our specialties.
Training his skilled union workforce helps preserve important buildings from Pekin's history.
We're going to bring a historic building up to the current time. So we'll keep the wood floors, show some brick, we'll keep the columns, and then we'll add some modern flair to it.
It'll have some modernness to the kitchen for sure, and a fresher look than the one we have in Lakin.
Neon and LED lighting. There'll be some, quite a bit of stainless steel, some solid surface tops. You can see we're tearing out the floors over here, so we'll bring the tile in flush with the historic maple floors.
But we'll have a nod to the building's history and also the Pekin area and surrounding areas. That's our goal. As we open more of these, we'll tie into the community pretty heavily. So.
If we don't stabilize these buildings, it's only a matter of time before the life safety issues cause them to have to come down. So by stabilize them, we position them for another 100 years of service to the community.
But we support all of our local basketball, baseball, football. I've got 6 kids in the community as well.
First and most important thing to invest in is people. I've always believed that. So people that are passionate about, it could be anything from a barber to a yoga teacher to a sports performance trainer to a pizza guy.
We love Todd. He has helped build a team for us to work with. When I built Lakin, it was by myself. So the team environment's been phenomenal.
If he could help every single person out there, he would. But there's only 24 hours in a day.
So I made a handshake agreement with Adam, and if he'd come run this project for me, that I would help him open a sports performance training facility.
When you have plumbing issues in your home, it can disrupt your whole routine. At Plumbers 911, we connect you with a highly experienced plumber in 5 minutes or less. We call it our 5-minute promise. All of our expert plumbers are highly trained, background checked, licensed, and insured, so you can feel confident that your job will be done right the first time. Our phones are open 24/7 to help solve your problem, day or night, at 1-833-PLUM-911. Plumbers 911, your plumbing connection.
We are DeWalt. We're the ones who grind it out. The ones using materials from all over the world to build the things that build America, right here in America. And there's no place we'd rather be. Land of the free, tools of the brave.
This is a team. It's made up of different players, positions, skills, talented, sure, but on their own? Because every team needs a coach, someone who makes things work together. That's how Lesset works. We're coaches in the construction industry, bringing together laborers and management, unions and contractor associations. Our work leads to safer, stronger construction, which is a win for us all.
It's often said, do what you love and the money will follow. Well, one union carpenter in downstate Pekin, Illinois is putting in a lot of legwork into making that statement come true. But he didn't do it all on his own. He had a hand from Todd Thompson, his union contractor boss that noticed this passion from the get-go.
So I met Todd. We were both working on the OSF hospice job out on Route 91.
Adam was putting the ceilings in on a project where we were doing some casework, mill work.
I was working for another company at the time, doing all the metal studs, framing, things like that. And Todd approached me. He liked my work ethic, I guess, and he told me if I ever needed a job, to give him a call.
I took him out to lunch and we talked about it. He went on a full ride scholarship for collegiate sports and then was injured. And through some training, he rehabbed, and he found that he was more passionate about the training and helping athletes than actually competing.
Todd's initial reaction, dude, why don't you start a gym? There's a lot of companies where all they care about is production and other things, and with Todd, it's the employees first.
He said, I love to build, and I love my trade, and I'm not exactly sure how I would go about the business side of opening a gym. I wanted him to come on board and run a pretty complicated project we were about to engage in. So I made a handshake agreement with Adam, and if he'd come run this project for me, that I would help him open a sports performance training facility.
So when he brought up that idea, I was 100% on board. Everything's set up with the state and federal and all that stuff, the things that I had no clue about, I just wanted to train.
I don't like to create a startup business that has cash flow issues. What's out there where we can train today? And who can we train today?
We started out in a park, then we went to about a 2,000 square foot warehouse space that, nothing fancy, it was concrete floors.
Adam used his carpentry skills to fit it out. building it out and branding it with his logos and with the right equipment, but always having a vision that he would be a place where he could train professional athletes.
Word just spread.
Where it really hit me the most is when I got a call from my son that one of the teams Adam had trained had just won the state championship. And I knew that they weren't even a contender before he started training them.
In fact, Adam was so successful, he was able to take his business to the next level.
Then decided to partner up with a buddy of mine that he owned House of Speed, which is another performance training center, and got Sean Durbin from Synergy Sports Complex involved, and we ended up building a new building, and that's where we operate out of now. We have 8,000 square feet, roughly 30 yards of turf, big weight area, and then also a 3-lane track for doing our speed work and stuff.
Today, Adam trains the sports stars of tomorrow, making them faster and stronger.
We have Cole Cook, who plays in the minors now. Luke Mangieri, he plays for the Pirates organization out of Bradenton, Florida.
I'm here in the off season, so from September to January, February, then I go to spring training. We maxed out probably 2 months ago, and all lifts have gone up like 20, 30, 40 pounds. I feel great on the field. My power's there, it's improving.
And then also Nick Guerrera, he was on that state championship team from Morton and now plays down in Maryville college ball.
We started when I was a sophomore in high school with Adam, who has obviously studied training and strength conditioning. It just brought a new level to our game, I guess. We were all stronger. We had 25 home runs as a team, I think, my junior year, which blew everyone in the conference out of the water. So him dedicating the time to his athletes here after work just shows that he really cares.
But it's not just up-and-comers Adam works with. He even trained NBA champion Shaun Livingston.
So I worked with him for 2 seasons doing that, and the 3rd year he asked me to move to Las Vegas with him for the entire off-season. I went on to win the 2nd NBA title at that time.
Next one we'll go moving ball. All right. But being a union carpenter is still an important part of Adam's life.
My dad was a union carpenter, so growing up, you know, he was always working on stuff around the house, my grandparents' house, things like that. My brother and I were always helping him out, had a small cabinet shop, so kind of grew up around it. It's in my blood. I love the teamwork aspect of it. You know, that transfers a lot to my training, what I do with teams and things as well, and I really feel like here at Thompson Brothers we're a team. If it wasn't for Todd initially seeing some potential in me and you know, what I could do and helping out on the business side that I didn't know anything about, I definitely wouldn't be where I am today.
That's all for this episode of Built to Last. Be sure to check us out on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram.
Hey, Monica, why did Joe the shoemaker ask for help from the carpenter?
I don't know, why?
Wouldn't Shoe like to know?
We'll see you next time.
I've always wanted to be a cobbler.